Welcome to BodhiRipple, where ancient wisdom flows into modern life. Let me begin with a simple but powerful question. Have you ever wondered what happens when someone becomes enlightened? Does enlightenment give special powers? Can you see the future, heal people, or walk on water? Or is it something deeper, something invisible, but life-changing? Throughout history, people have asked the Buddha directly, what did you truly gain from your years of practice? What did enlightenment bring you? His answers hold the key to inner freedom, not in temples or books, but inside your own mind. Stay until the end, because this teaching reveals what true enlightenment really means and how you can experience a small piece of it in your own daily life. 1. The question that everyone wanted to ask. Throughout the Buddha's teaching years, after he had attained enlightenment under the sacred Bodhi tree, many people approached him with curiosity and skepticism. They had heard stories of this former prince who left his palace, his family, and his wealth. He sat in meditation for days without moving, and now he claimed to have awakened to the ultimate truth. One theme appeared again and again in the Buddha's encounters with seekers. What exactly did you gain? The world expected tales of supernatural powers, divine visions, or secret knowledge. In various teachings recorded in the Buddhist texts, the Buddha gave answers that shocked his listeners. In the Mahayana tradition's Diamond Sutra, the Buddha explicitly states, "I truly attained nothing from complete, unexcelled enlightenment." To those expecting grand achievements, this sounded impossible. How could years of dedication result in nothing? But the Buddha would continue with teachings that revealed a profound truth, one that has been paraphrased and retold across centuries in many forms. What I gained cannot be measured in worldly terms, but I can tell you what I lost. I lost anger, anxiety, fear, greed, and the illusion that peace comes from controlling life. The listeners would fall silent. They had expected a divine answer, maybe stories of miracles or hidden powers. But instead, the Buddha spoke of peace, the kind that comes not from gaining, but from letting go. This teaching became one of the most transformative lessons in all of Buddhism. Enlightenment is not about adding something new. It's about removing what hides your peace. 2. What enlightenment really means. Many people think enlightenment is a reward, something you achieve after doing great deeds or meditating for decades. But the Buddha described it differently. He said enlightenment is like waking up from a long dream. The world doesn't change, your eyes do. Before awakening, you see life through filters of fear, desire, and ego. After awakening, you see things as they truly are, impermanent, interconnected, and constantly changing. It's not about becoming something more. It's about realizing you are never incomplete. According to Buddhist tradition, under the Bodhi tree, a sacred fig tree, Ficus religiosa, the Buddha meditated for approximately 49 days and nights. During this time, he faced what Buddhist texts describe as Mara, the personification of desire, fear, and delusion. Whether Mara was an external demon or an internal struggle, the symbolic meaning is clear. Enlightenment comes through facing and transcending our deepest attachments and fears. When dawn broke, the Buddha experienced what is called nirvana, literally the blowing out or extinguishing of the fires of greed, hatred, and delusion. The Buddha didn't gain supernatural powers. He simply stopped clinging to illusions. He stopped believing that peace comes from outside. That's why the teaching emphasizes, I gained nothing, because everything I needed was already here. 3. The weight we carry. Think of your mind like a traveler carrying a heavy bag. Inside are thoughts, memories, fears, and endless desires. Every day, you add more. Expectations from others, regrets from the past, worries about tomorrow. You say, I need to do this, I need to have that. I need people to like me. Soon, the bag becomes so heavy that even happiness feels tiring. The Buddha realized that enlightenment isn't about adding more to the bag. It's about putting it down. When you drop the weight of endless wanting, you discover something amazing. Peace isn't something you reach. It's what remains when you stop chasing. In the early Buddhist texts, particularly the Pali Canon, the Buddha described this as the cessation of tanha, the thirst or craving that drives the cycle of suffering. This isn't about becoming passive or giving up on life. It's about acting from clarity rather than desperation, from wisdom rather than fear. 4. The mind before and after awakening. Before enlightenment, the Buddha taught that the mind behaves like what he called the monkey mind in later Buddhist commentaries. It jumps from thought to thought, chasing pleasure and avoiding pain. It says, if I get that job, I'll be happy. If I meet the right person, I'll be complete. If I buy that thing, I'll finally relax. But each time it gets what it wants, it immediately starts looking for more. That's why most people live in constant dissatisfaction, even when they have everything. After enlightenment, the restless mind finally rests. The mind no longer runs after happiness. It becomes established in peace itself. Buddhism calls this state nirvana, which literally means the cooling or the extinguishing of the inner fires of craving, aversion, and ignorance. You still live, eat, love, and work, but without being driven by fear, greed, or regret. You stop merely reacting to life and start responding to it with awareness. According to the Buddhist texts, nirvana is described as the unconditioned, meaning it's not dependent on external circumstances. It's a state of being that remains stable regardless of what happens around you. 5. The Buddha's core teaching. Gain nothing, lose everything unnecessary. When Buddhist texts emphasize that the Buddha gained nothing, they're not rejecting life. They're revealing its true nature. Through enlightenment, the Buddha transcended the illusion of a permanent, separate self. He saw that the body and mind constantly change, so there's nothing solid to cling to. This teaching is known as anatta, or non-self, the chase for endless pleasure. He realized that desire, tanha, never ends on its own, and contentment doesn't depend on possessions. True happiness comes from inner peace, not external acquisition. The fear of death. He understood that life and death are part of one continuous flow, not two separate things. What we call death is simply transformation, not annihilation. The bondage of anger and hatred. In the Dhammapada, one of Buddhism's most beloved texts, the Buddha taught, hatred never ends through hatred. By non-hate alone does hatred cease. This is an eternal law. He didn't gain power. He gained peace by losing illusions. It's like cleaning a window covered in dust. You don't create light. You just remove what blocks it. That's what enlightenment is, the cleaning of perception. According to Buddhist philosophy, we all possess Buddha nature, the potential for awakening. Enlightenment doesn't add this quality. It reveals what was always present but obscured by ignorance and craving. 6. The lesson for you and me. The Buddha's teaching is not just ancient philosophy, it's practical wisdom for daily life. You might not meditate under a tree for 49 days, but you can still experience small awakenings in everyday moments. Every time you let go of something that controls your mind, a grudge, a fear, or an obsession, you step closer to peace. Enlightenment starts in small moments. When you forgive someone who hurt you, when you stop comparing your life to others, when you sit quietly and feel grateful just to breathe. You don't have to become a monk to live mindfully. You only have to stop running from yourself. The Buddha himself taught what's known as the gradual path, recognizing that awakening often comes through incremental steps rather than sudden transformation. 7. How to practice losing in daily life. The Buddha's path wasn't about collecting beliefs. It was about practicing awareness. Here are 5 ways to begin losing the unnecessary and gaining peace. 1. Watch your thoughts without judgment. Sit for 5 minutes a day and observe your mind. Don't try to stop your thoughts. Just notice them come and go like clouds passing through the sky. This simple act, called vipassana, or insight meditation in Buddhist tradition, weakens thought's control over you. 2. Let go of needing to be right. Arguments often come from ego, not truth. Sometimes peace is more valuable than victory. When you let go of always needing to win, you gain freedom from pride. The Buddha taught right speech as part of the Noble Eightfold Path, speaking truthfully, but also kindly and at the right time. 3. Simplify your life. Clutter in your space mirrors clutter in your mind. Clean one area of your home and notice how your thoughts feel lighter too. Buddhist monks live with minimal possessions not as punishment, but as practice in non-attachment, owning only what serves their spiritual development. 4. Forgive quickly, release fully. Holding anger, the Buddha taught, is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to suffer. Forgive for your own peace, not because they deserve it, but because you do. In Buddhist psychology, resentment is considered one of the poisons that perpetuates suffering. 5. Be grateful for what you already have. The Buddha taught contentment, santuthi, as the highest wealth. When you focus on what's present instead of what's missing, your mind stops searching and starts resting. This isn't about suppressing legitimate needs, but about recognizing when you have enough and appreciating it fully. Each of these small practices chips away at the wall between you and inner peace. 8. The Mirror of Enlightenment. A disciple once asked the Buddha in the Suttas, "Master, after enlightenment, do you still think?" The Buddha smiled and replied with teachings that amount to, "Yes, but now thoughts are my servants, not my masters." That's the secret. Thoughts still appear, but they don't control you. Desires still arise, but they don't command you. Pain still comes, but it no longer defines you. You become like a mirror, reflecting everything but clinging to nothing. When joy comes, you smile. When sorrow comes, you remain equanimous, balanced, and aware. The mirror remains clear through it all. That's the heart of awakening, clarity without attachment. This quality of mind is what the Buddha called upekkha, equanimity or balanced awareness. It's one of the 4 Brahmaviharas, or divine abodes that enlightened beings cultivate. 9. The Gift of Nothingness. Modern life teaches us to chase more. More money, more followers, more success, more recognition. But the Buddha offered something radical, the wisdom of sufficiency. He showed that happiness is not in accumulation, but in the absence of compulsive craving, the absence of constant comparison, the absence of paralyzing fear, the absence of self-centered craving. In that space of non-grasping, you find fullness. Because when the illusion of a separate, permanent I dissolves, what remains is connection with life, with others, with truth. That's why Buddhist monks can smile even with simple food and few possessions. Their joy doesn't depend on what's in their bowl, but the quality of their mind. You can live the same way, light, open, peaceful. The Buddha taught this as the middle way, not the extreme of luxury and indulgence he knew as a prince, nor the extreme of harsh asceticism he practiced before enlightenment, but a balanced path that recognizes genuine needs while releasing endless wants. 10. Living enlightenment in the modern world. You may think, but I have bills, family, and problems. How can I live like the Buddha? You don't need to escape the world. You just need to see through your illusions about it. The Buddha never told lay followers to abandon their responsibilities. He taught them to fulfill duties with awareness, right where they are. In fact, many of the Buddha's most devoted followers were householders, people with jobs, families, and worldly responsibilities. The difference was the quality of their awareness. Here's how you can bring enlightenment into daily life. 1. Turn daily actions into meditation. When you wash dishes, feel the water and the soap. When you walk, feel each step. When you eat, taste slowly. Awareness transforms routine into practice. This is called sati in Pali, mindfulness or present moment awareness. It's the foundation of the Buddha's path. 2. Respond, don't react. When someone shouts, pause before replying. Your pause is power. It turns emotion into understanding. The Buddha taught this as wise reflection, yoniso manasikara, considering the consequences before acting, rather than being driven by impulse. 3. Practice enough. Before buying or chasing something new, ask, do I already have enough? Most of the time, the answer will be yes. That's enlightenment in action, recognizing sufficiency. The Buddha taught monks to contemplate their robes, food, shelter, and medicine as supports for the path, not sources of pleasure, a practice that helps clarify true needs from conditioned wants. 4. See others as mirrors. Every person who triggers you teaches something. Anger shows where you're still attached. Jealousy shows where you're still comparing. Each reaction is an invitation to grow and understand yourself more deeply. This is the practice of using everyday life as spiritual training, transforming challenges into opportunities for wisdom. 5. Make peace your priority. In every situation, ask, what choice brings peace? Even if it costs pride or control, choose calmness. Because peace is the real success. The Buddha taught that true victory isn't over others, but over one's own mind, over the forces of greed, hatred, and delusion. 11. The enlightened way of seeing life. After enlightenment, the Buddha didn't escape suffering. He understood it completely. He saw that everything changes. Pain changes. Joy changes. Even anger and fear have their moment and pass away. This understanding of impermanence, anicca, brings freedom. You stop resisting what is temporary and start recognizing what is eternal, awareness itself. Life becomes like watching a play. You laugh, you cry, but deep inside, you know you are not just the character. You are also the witness, the awareness that observes it all. That's the wisdom of awakening. You live fully but remain untouched by chaos. In the Heart Sutra, a key Mahayana text, this is expressed as form is emptiness. Emptiness is form. Meaning that while we engage fully with a world of form and change, we recognize its ultimately empty, impermanent nature. 12. What you can gain by letting go. So what can you gain from following the Buddha's path? Not material things, but something far greater. Clarity. You see life as it is, not as your fears paint it. This is called panna, wisdom, in Buddhism. Calmness. The storms outside no longer shake you. Your inner peace remains stable regardless of circumstances. Compassion. You stop judging others harshly and start understanding them. This is karuna in Buddhist teaching, the wish for others to be free from suffering. Freedom. You act not out of habit or compulsion, but out of awareness and choice. Joy. A quiet, steady happiness that doesn't depend on conditions. The Buddha called this piti and sukha, the joy and happiness that arise from inner peace. These are not supernatural powers. They are natural qualities of a mind at peace. The Buddha showed that these gifts are already within you. You only need to remove what covers them. Just as every piece of gold contains the same golden nature beneath any tarnish, every person contains Buddha nature beneath layers of conditioning and confusion. 13. The truth behind nothing to gain. When the Buddha teachings emphasize, I gain nothing, they don't mean enlightenment is empty or meaningless. They mean that ultimate truth cannot be owned like a possession. It's not something to collect like wealth. It's something to realize, to directly experience. When you stop chasing gains, the truth finds you. When you stop asking, what can I get? You start seeing, what can I understand? That shift from greed to wisdom, that's awakening. It's not about becoming someone else. It's about becoming fully yourself, without illusion or pretense. In Zen Buddhism, there's a famous saying, before enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. After enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. The activities remain the same. The quality of awareness transforms completely. 14. The stillness beyond gain and loss. Near the end of his life, which the Buddhist tradition marks as his parinirvana, his final passing into complete nirvana, the Buddha's teaching remained consistent. My teaching is simple. Let go of what doesn't serve peace. He didn't promise heaven or wealth. He offered freedom from inner chaos. When you stop counting what you've gained or lost, you enter a space beyond both, a space of stillness. In that space, life continues as before, but your heart is lighter, your mind is clear, and your presence brings peace to others. That is enlightenment in everyday language, peace without conditions. Before his death, the Buddha's final words to his disciples were, all conditioned things are impermanent. Work out your own salvation with diligence. Even at the end, he pointed not to himself as a savior, but to each person's own capacity for awakening. Thank you for watching this video on BodhiRipple. I hope this exploration of the Buddha's enlightenment and his timeless teachings inspired you to see that awakening is not about gaining, it's about releasing. If this message brought you peace or clarity, please like this video, share your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe to BodhiRipple for more Buddhist wisdom that helps you live with mindfulness and calm strength. And don't stop here. Watch our other videos for more teachings that can transform your life, one peaceful insight at a time. Until next time, remember, you don't need to gain anything to be complete. You only need to let go of what hides your light. May you walk the path with wisdom and compassion.